I sold everything 3.5 years ago. I left America and I did not move to the Philippines. Well, I thought it would be quiet up here and I could do a little talking head video, but it's pretty busy. But I'll show you the view before I take off. I'm gonna run downstairs and finish this video, but it's a pretty nice night. You can see that's actually the light from the towers, if I remember right, shining up. It just makes this beautiful spot on the clouds. But it's a pretty amazing night. Pretty amazing night. I love that view right there. I just love that view right there. Just love it. But I want to run downstairs and I'm going to tell you all about me selling everything and not moving to the Philippines. So if you want to stick around, great. If not, have a good night. Wow, so it was busy up there, but I sold everything 3.5 years ago. About 3 years ago, I started selling it, or 4 years ago, I started selling everything. 3.5 years ago, I left America and I did not move to the Philippines. That was the plan. And I didn't do it. And I'm pretty happy I didn't do it. So if you want to... Ah, shit. Damn it. Had a spill. I'll be right back. Okay, well that was fun. So I've been loving these things. They're probably not good for me, but I grabbed 2 of these. I went upstairs, wanted to have a conversation with my camera and share it with you. And this is half empty. Like literally it's like down to about here. Just blew up. I don't know what the story is, but I sold everything. I didn't move to the Philippines. That was the plan. And I'm going to talk about how, why, and why I'm probably happier, healthier, and going to live longer because I didn't move to the Philippines. And I know, I'm not trying to burst anybody's bubble. I know many people that sold everything, moved to the Philippines. They're super happy and I'm happy for them. But in hindsight, I don't think it was the right choice for me. And, you know, I recently had some travel problems. And on the other side of them, I look back and I'm like, wow, you know, if I were to write a script for my life, that travel problem left me in a better position than had all my travel plans gone to, you know, come out smoothly. So not moving to the Philippines kind of is like that to me now after 3 years, 3.5 years on the road. I have many more opportunities. I'm much healthier, much happier than I think I would have been had I moved to the Philippines. Now, I may have moved to the Philippines. I may have found a niche and fit in and been happy. But by traveling so much, I've been to so many cities. I've spent time, extended amounts of time in cities, not just like a tourist. So I have a deeper appreciation of what I want in a full-time city, or, you know, a perpetual city, or a forever city. You know, however you want to phrase it, I know what I want where I'm going to live longer much more clearly than I ever would have had I just moved to the Philippines and kind of bounced from one city to the next, you know, struggling to find my way there. And the amount of negative expats in the Philippines, I don't think I would have done well. So, a little bit of history. I left America June 2022. I went to the Azores. I was desperate to get out of America. I was desperate to change my situation. I was desperate to find some healthier environments for me to live a more happy, a better life. And I did. So I ended up in the Azores for 2 months, and then I transitioned over to Albania. And then I kind of floated around Poland a little bit, back to Albania, and around Poland a little bit, and just started wandering the world. Excuse me. And it all worked out pretty fabulous. I can't say it was perfect. I can't say it was great, but, you know, or I can't say every moment was great. But by having those experiences and traveling into all these different cities, you know, doing in countries, doing the different currencies, you know, different cultures, and living in different environments, whether it was hotels or Airbnbs, whether it was a house by itself, or, you know, on the 5th floor with no stair or no elevator. All of those things, you know, really added up to really put me in a good position. You know, I spent some time, a couple of weeks in this one city, and they really didn't like Americans. At least the people I met. There were some that really loved me, and I got along with them, but there were others who were, giving me a hard time every single day. Why don't you learn the language? Well, I've been here 2 weeks. It's kind of hard to learn a foreign language in 2 weeks. I'm glad you can, but uh, and just a lot of things like that. But had I moved to the Philippines, what I discovered on this last trip to the Philippines is I can see clearly, like, my weaknesses, my proclivity to do certain things, sit around, not do much. And if I'm not in a place where I can actively engage in the habits and activities that are going to promote my life, promote healthiness, healthy lifestyle, and really keep a lid on depression and loneliness, then, I'm going to slip back into the old habits I had for the last 20 years. And part of my goal about moving abroad was to drop a lot of those habits. It was to quit those habits. And the Philippines, a lot of those habits would be easy to slip back into, right? I was talking with some homeless people one time a couple of years ago. I was living in a camp with them for about 3 weeks. And I guess it was about a year and a half ago. I went back to America for a little bit, spent a little bit of time there. I guess maybe 2 years ago. I spent a couple months there, and I kind of bummed around a bit, spent a few weeks with friends here and there, but I spent a little time on the streets like I used to, because it's California and camping on the streets is not that big of a deal. It's a pretty, decent lifestyle if you know what you're doing, how to do it, and you have a little cash in your pocket. It's not that different than camping like anywhere else in the world. Except you have access to things like Taco Bell. But anyway, I was having a conversation with these people and, trying to encourage them to get up and get out and, change their lifestyle, because they didn't have any mobility. And one of the things I stressed to them was, you need to get out of here. You need to leave here. Because when you're in the same environment, you're not going to be able to change your habits, your behaviors, your mindset as easily. When you start moving around and you're around different people, you get to redefine yourself. You get to redefine yourself to everybody, not just by your thoughts or your words, but by your actions. And when you start redefining yourself and you get that positive feedback of the new person, and then you go someplace else and you change a little more and you get more positive feedback, it just becomes a snowball. And it's a positive snowball or a negative snowball. So if I went back to California full time, all of a sudden I'd probably be on Facebook, or I'd be doing this or doing that, or I'd be playing video games, or I'd be, eating Hot Pockets again, or drinking Crown and Coke all day again. Or I used to get those little bottles of vodka, pour it in my Sprite, and, drink that. And I'd go back to all those habits because it's comfortable, it's easy, it's routine, right? But by keeping on the move for an extended period of time, I was able to drop all those habits to where I don't have the urge. One of the hardest things for me to quit wasn't the Crown Royal and Coke. I used to go to Costco. I tell this all the time. But I'd go to Costco the first of the month and I'd buy 2 big boxes, 2 handles of Crown Royal at a minimum. Sometimes I'd just get a third right there. Sometimes I'd come back for a third or fourth or more later that month. Sometimes I'd mix it up and add a couple of vodkas in there. Just depended on the month, but pretty much every month I bought 2 handles of Crown Royal, and then I'd limp over, get a couple cases of Coke, right? And then, get some hot dogs and corn dogs and be out the door, right? So dropping the Crown Royal was easy. I could quit drinking alcohol, no problem, right? Quitting beer was easy, quitting vodka was easy, quitting the Crown Royal was easy. I had the hardest time stopping the Coca-Cola. And finally, I just said, you know what? I'm not the person who drinks Coke anymore. And it stuck. Well, why did it stick? Because I wasn't going to Taco Bell. I wasn't going out to eat. I wasn't going any place that had Coke except the grocery store. And I was at the point, like I'd walk into a grocery store, I'd see a Coke, and it would just kind of reflexively end up in my basket. And now, I can walk up, pick up a Coke, and set it down. In fact, I was here, and I went to this KFC, and they had this tropical drink, right? And had some blue stuff in it, and I'm like, I like trying new things, right? So I'm at KFC, I see this tropical drink, I don't really know what's in it, it's all in foreign language, so I'm like, let me try that, right? And 2 sips, it's got Coca-Cola, I set it down, push it away, and I'm done with it. It's gotten to the point where if I do taste Coke, it's like disgusting to me, because that's the frame set I positioned in my mind. It is disgusting and despicable to drink Coca-Cola, for me to drink Coca-Cola, never going back. And it's easier when you're changing locations, right? Because I'm not getting all that input to say just naturally, go drink your Coke. One of the funny things along those lines was I was at home one time and I had all these snacks in my cupboard, and I'm just like doing things in the kitchen and I'm not paying attention. I was cleaning up, doing this, that. And before I knew it, I had a bag of snacks opened. It was these pita chips, right? And I just had the bag open and I was reaching in to get a pita chip. I had no intention of eating, but it was just such a muscle memory and a habit and a routine that I just naturally like opened it and went after it. And luckily at that point in time, I was already on this change process, and I just threw the pita chips, the whole bag. I just opened it, threw them in the trash, and I'm like, done. And I never bought more, never put stocked snacks like that in my house again. And that was just one of those changes I had to go through. I had to stop and do that. Now, moving to the Philippines, there's so many expats and there's so many people that I would get along with and I would associate with, and I'd have, maybe not tight friends, but they'd be like, acquaintances or, friendly with, and I'd go do things with them. There's no way I could have changed my life the way I have, because I would constantly be getting that, hey, why don't you come here? Hey, why don't you go do, let's go do this, let's go do that. And that's normal friend behavior. But I would be friends with people I was friends with before, not with people I want to be friends with in the future, if that makes any sense. And that was a real important thing for me, is changing my group of 5, right? They always talk about the 5. It's everywhere. You can sort it out if you haven't sorted it out yet. But I needed a new group of 5. And I wasn't finding the right group of 5 in person. So I started looking to people online, because what I discovered, it's not just who you're conversing with. That's a lot of it, right? But you can supplement in people as, sort of video mentors or audio mentors, or supplement in books. And when you spend more time with your head in 3 books than you do talking to anybody, any one person, that's going to be the dominant voice in your head. That's going to be the majority of the input. Now, in my opinion, this is my perspective, 5 minutes with one person in person carries more weight than 30 minutes of, listening to somebody online. So you really have to manage that carefully. But I was able to change my perspective, my mindset, and my thought process on a lot of things just by inundating myself, by flooding myself with a lot of positive input from people I respected and in a position I wanted to migrate to. So that was a real important change for me. And had I moved to the Philippines at that time in my life, there's no way I would have been able to do that, because I would just, it's like staying dry in a rainstorm, right? It's just not going to happen. And the quality of food in the Philippines is not, the quality of food's not really what I want long term. Now I can manage my diet there and I can get the food I want there, but it's not easy and it's not convenient and it's not readily available. So, there are days where you're always just going to go for what's easy, convenient, readily available, right? And you don't have the strength or mindset or willpower, however you want to phrase it, to, do the hard work. Now, some people obviously always will have that, right? But I'm not Goggins. I'm not, Jocko. I'm not one of these, pro athletes. I'm just a regular guy, regular issues, middle of the road, below standard on pretty much everything in life. And I'm still living the best season of my life because I'm able to make these changes. And if I can't make the hard decision in the hard place, then I just know to avoid the hard place and make the easy decision because of the place I'm in. And that probably didn't sound right, so let me rephrase that for you. Making the hard decision in the hard place is like going into the bar when you're an alcoholic, getting a drink sent to your table and pushing it away and getting up and walking out and leaving all your friends at the table, just like, no, I'm out of here. That's a hard decision in a hard place. All your friends are there, they're laughing, they're drinking. Somebody sets a drink in front of you and you don't want it. Eventually that's going to crack and you're going to take that drink for most people. Now, there's obviously always the exception to the rule, but that's being able to make the hard decision in the hard place, to stand firm, stand strong, against the peer pressure, against the biological craving or whatever, the internal craving, against the desire, against knowing that if I have that drink, I'm going to loosen up, I'll have more fun. And tomorrow, I may not be alive anyway, so, why not, right? That's kind of the mindset. Now, the easy answer is to just avoid the hard place, right? Don't go to the bar with your friends, right? Now you don't have to worry about the drink in that environment, and it's an easier decision in an easier place. So by positioning myself in a better place where the decisions weren't so hard, I was more successful. And, you can paint that however you want. You can color it however you want. You can call me whatever kind of names you want. But going to the Philippines, the availability of food that's not the best for me, but I enjoy it. The availability of drink that's not good for me, but I enjoy it. The availability of companionship and friendship and camaraderie with people that aren't always the best environment for me, but I enjoy it. It's just too great. And I'd have to be making that super hard decision every day of my life. And that would not lead to a happy, healthy person. So by putting myself in a better environment, those decisions aren't hard, right? The first 2 months, if I wanted a snack, I had to get up and walk like a quarter mile. And then once I got there, the snacks weren't that good. If I wanted a burger, a hamburger, I had to get on a bus for an hour or walk about 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours. It was a horrible walk. And I was so fat and my knee hurt so bad at the time, like, I could make that walk, once every other week. And that really limited my decisions. So then I go to the grocery store, I buy my groceries, and I'm only buying exactly what I need and healthy. And so when I get hungry, what are my choices? Healthy food or, hours to get a nasty snack? Obviously, I want the nasty snack, but I'm not going to, ride a bus for an hour each way to get a nasty snack when I've got healthy food. And that's kind of the extreme, the hyperbolic example, but that was the kickoff, that was the start. And so by constantly putting myself in those positions, by getting up early, getting outside, going for a walk, guess what? That leads to me going to bed early because I get tired sooner, right? If you're up at sunrise every day out walking, you're not going to be up at 1, 2, 3 in the morning playing a video game or listening to a video or a movie or doing whatever. So putting myself in the position to make the decision I want to make very easy really paid off. And I don't think the Philippines was that environment for me. I'm not saying it's not the right environment for a lot of people. I know a lot of people that weren't struggling with depression, with weight, with health issues like I was. And the Philippines is great for them, right? Super easy for them. They're living the exact life they want. And I'm very happy for them. For me, I don't think it was the right answer. So I think the other thing it opened up is had I been in the Philippines, I probably would have done a few side trips here and there and here and there. but I wouldn't be hitting bucket list items like I have. I don't think I ever would have made it over to Egypt. I don't think I would make it to Greece. I don't think I would make it to Poland. You know, there's so many areas I've been. Japan I might have made, but I find it hard to believe I would have gone to some of the places in Japan or spent as much time as I have there had I lived in the Philippines. Because I would get an apartment and I'd be back in that same routine as California. I'd be paying rent, right? And every time you're paying rent, that's money you have to budget out. And now you can do trips, but you can't, you know, if you're paying rent on a budget like mine, it's hard to do a 30-day or 60-day or a 90-day trip, right? I actually had to make a visa run out of Japan because I was at the 90-day mark. So I had to run to Korea for a few days and then come back and get a new visa. And I wouldn't have done that had I had if I had an apartment in the Philippines, I wouldn't have done that. And the other thing is if you're in the Philippines and you're a single guy, you're either going to be chasing, you know, the girl of the week, or you're going to find a lady. And I mean, it's just, I can't imagine any man being in the Philippines for any length of time and not fall into one of those two categories: chasing the girl of the week, or find a permanent companion or a long-term companion, just because, you know, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. And that's pretty true in most countries if you're out there looking. But the Philippines, you don't have to be out there looking. They're out there looking for you. And if you're a happy, healthy man, they're going to find you and they're going to make offers, right? And they're going to want to spend time with you. And who doesn't want to spend time with a beautiful woman? Just saying. Especially when they're happy and they're, you know, they just bring joy to you, right? Who doesn't want to do that? Now, for me, that's a mixed blessing because obviously I'm a man. I want to spend time with a beautiful woman. But there's also things I want to do in life that would make it really hard for me to do right now because I'm not super successful financially and this and this and that. I'm on a small budget. And there's places I want to go. And there's things I want to do that I can't afford to, you know, bring somebody along with me. Now, if somebody's got their own money and they want to follow me, that's great, right? But I'm not really in that position. And so had I been in the Philippines, I really don't think I ever would have made it to Egypt. I don't think I'd be planning a return trip to Egypt. I don't think I'd be trying to figure out how to get to Africa. I definitely wouldn't be trying to go back to Poland and Sweden. And there's no way I'd be thinking about Kyrgyzstan or, you know, all these other crazy countries that are still on my to-do list and still very much possible because I can travel a lot easier than somebody with a Philippine passport or a Thailand passport or a Malaysian passport, right? One of the real benefits of being an American abroad is your passport takes you a lot of places very easily, and it just makes me so sad that I went so long without getting out and exploring the world. There's just no excuse for it, and you know, I'm very ashamed of the fact that I didn't start traveling when I was younger. But I'm trying to make up for it now, and I'm going places and seeing things and doing things. You know, I'm living the best season of my life. And so why am I making these videos? So I can share the thought process with other people, and you know, hopefully somebody else will get up off the couch and you know, realize that, hey, you're not dead. You can go have an adventure today too. You can go have an adventure tomorrow or next week or next month. You know, you can get out and do it. And it's a choice. There's hardships, there's sacrifices, there's things you give up, there's things you do, there's things you won't like, there's things you will like, right? But I was just wasting my time in California, and I'm not anymore. If you're not wasting your time, this may not be the right path for you. If you are just like, you know, crossing off days on the calendar, waiting for that next bottle of Crown Royal, you know, maybe this is a better option for you. It definitely is a better option for me. So anyway, that's what I got. I still have a ton of videos coming out. So if you want to follow me around, My travel videos aren't super getting better at them, I think. Hopefully they'll get better. A lot of my travel videos are just about, you know, recording stuff for me so I can remember it. And I'm trying to transition from that into making videos that other people would enjoy. But, you know, I have a hard time because the simple, like basic things really keep me engaged and keep me happy and keep me moving forward. And I didn't even get a sip of this in. I meant to sit and have a nice relaxed talk and drink some pink guava vitamin C. This stuff is so good. It's almost as addictive as Coke, but it's not Coke, and it's probably a tiny bit healthier. Formulated by Japanese. Maybe that's why I like it so much. But anyway, y'all have a great night, great day, great morning, great week, great month. Take your pick. I'll be back in a few days with another video. Probably me walking around Japan or going to a park or a castle or something similar. And eventually, you know, I'll get back to Cyprus and Egypt and Prague and Vienna and all the other videos I need to clear off my hard drive. So thanks for stopping by.